Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig into the topics and sources you send our way, aiming to give you those key insights, well, quickly.
That's the goal.
So today, we're diving into something pretty interesting, potentially transformative for higher education. It's a new partnership.
Yeah, between EON Reality's Spatial AI University and the University of Business Technology, UBT.
Right, UBT. And the sources talk about this idea of a third way for learning, specifically for, the AI era we're moving into.
Exactly. It's pitched as a blend, trying to bridge the gap between traditional campus learning and purely online courses, taking the good bits from both, essentially.
Okay, a third way. Sounds catchy.
Yeah.
So what's the problem they're trying to solve? What are the downsides of the current options, the traditional and the online models, that this is supposed to fix?
Well, the thinking behind the Spatial AI University approach, this third way, is that both current models have limitations, especially for the future. Traditional universities, they offer great things, in-person interactions, solid foundations, but sometimes they can be a bit slow to adapt.
Right. Keeping the curriculum perfectly aligned with, exactly what jobs need right now can be tough.
Precisely. There's often that talk of a skills gap where graduates maybe don't have the very specific cutting-edge skills employers are looking for today.
Okay, makes sense. And what about online? It's obviously huge, very accessible. What's the issue there, according to this model?
Accessibility and flexibility are definite pluses for online, no doubt. But it can sometimes lack that really deep, immersive, hands-on experience, the kind that helps you really master practical skills.
Like actually doing something, not just reading about it or watching a video.
Exactly. So the third way is trying to weave those together. The structure and interaction may be closer to traditional, but with the reach of online, and then layering this spatial tech on top.
So it's more than just sticking lectures on the web. There was a quote from Dan Lajerskar at EON Reality about this.
Yeah, he talked about it being a fundamental reimagining of education, focusing on developing those uniquely human skills, the ones less likely to be automated, through their method.
Which is?
They call it learn, train, perform. The idea is to create these really tangible, interactive experiences. So instead of just, say, reading about complex machinery.
You actually operate a virtual version.
That's the idea. Make it practical, make it stick.
Okay, and UBT is the partner here. They already have a presence in Europe, right?
Yeah.
London, Vienna.
Kosovo, yeah, several places. UBT has a history of embracing new tech in education. Their president, Professor Dr. Edmund Hudrizi, sees this as a natural evolution.
An evolution towards using tech better and reaching more people globally.
Right. They're basically plugging EON's spatial AI platform into their existing structure.
So let's get practical. If you're a student in one of these programs, what does it actually look like? What are the key benefits you'd get?
Okay, so first, there's the virtual access using extended reality, or XR, to learn from pretty much anywhere. Global reach is a big theme. Second, and this one's kind of staggering, they talk about access to over $50 billion worth of virtual labs, equipment, resources.
Whoa, hold on. Did you say billion? Would a B? 50 billion? How is that even calculated?
That's the number they're using in the materials, yeah. I mean, because it's virtual, they can replicate expensive labs, complex machinery, dangerous environments, all that kind of stuff at a scale that no physical university could possibly afford.
Okay, that's a massive number. What else?
Then there's AI mentorship available 24/7. So if you're stuck, you can get AI-driven help immediately. Personalized learning paths, too, adapting to how you learn best.
24/7 support is interesting.
Definitely. Plus, career-focused credentials, stackable certificates that build towards diplomas, designed with industry needs in mind.
So job readiness is key.
Very much so. And they also mention opportunities for actual physical networking and presence at UBT's campuses in Europe.
Oh, so it's not just virtual.
Apparently not entirely. There's a physical component or option. And finally, flexibility and scheduling. Learning at your own pace, fitting it around work or life.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty comprehensive package. Our sources had a table comparing the three models, traditional, online, and the Spatial AI UBT one. What jumped out at you from that comparison?
Well, that equipment access difference is huge, obviously. Traditional is limited by physical space and cost. Online often has, well, none for practical stuff. This model claims that $50 billion plus virtual access.
Yeah, hard to ignore that figure. What else?
Instructor availability.
Yeah.
Traditional has office hours. Online might be email or forums with delays. Here you have the AI mentors available instantly, 247 plus the actual faculty instructors.
That could really change the dynamic if you need help right now.
Absolutely. And the learning approach itself. Traditional often relies heavily on lectures. Online is often reading, watching videos. This third way is all about interactive spatial experiences.
So more active engagement, less passive listening.
That's the promise, getting you inside the concepts, interacting with them spatially. They argue this kind of multisensory learning really helps with understanding and remembering things long term.
And it probably feels more engaging than just reading text on a screen.
You'd assume so. Plus, the flexibility we mentioned, schedule, location, is way beyond typical traditional models and maybe more structured or supported than some purely self-driven online courses.
Okay, let's talk money. Cost is always a factor. How does this model stack up financially?
The materials really stress that it's designed to be offered at a fraction of traditional costs.
A fraction, okay.
But with, and this is their phrase, a greater value proposition. The value comes from that massive resource access and the direct link to career skills, all supposedly for less tuition.
So potentially cheaper, and you get access to more stuff, especially that virtual equipment library.
That seems to be the core financial argument, yes. More bang for your buck.
How does this all tie into making education more accessible to more people? You mentioned global reach.
Yeah, accessibility seems central. Lower costs are one part. Flexible scheduling helps people juggling jobs or family. Being able to learn from anywhere opens doors for people geographically isolated or in underserved regions.
Right, you don't need to relocate to a specific city.
Exactly. And the stackable credentials mean you don't have to commit to a full multi-year degree up front. You can build qualifications incrementally.
That seems practical.
They also mention multi-device compatibility, so you don't necessarily need like a high-end VR headset. You could potentially access it on different devices. And financial aid or scholarships are also part of the plan to lower barriers.
Yeah, and that 24/7 AI mentor we keep coming back to, that adds value without the cost of having human tutors available around the clock.
Precisely. It's a way to scale support cost-effectively.
It really feels like the technology is the absolute core of this third way. Can we talk a bit more about the specific tech pieces from EON Reality?
Sure. So UBT brings its experience in using tech for learning, and EON provides this spatial AI platform. It's actually a suite of tools.
Like what?
There's EON AI Ready, which helps create the actual learning content powered by AI. Then EON AI Mentor, that's the 24/7 personalized AI tutor we talked about. There's also EON and Vibe Coder, which is interesting. It's a no-code platform, so potentially educators or even students could create their own interactive spatial experiences without needing to be programmers.
Lowering the barrier to creating content, too.
Seems like it. Then you have EON Career Compass, which guides students towards relevant jobs and skills.
Aligning learning with careers again.
Yep. And finally, the EON Entrepreneur Guide, which provides a framework for developing entrepreneurial skills. So it's quite a comprehensive ecosystem.
It sounds like it all works together to create this adaptive environment. Going back to that idea of interacting with things spatially, how much difference does that really make?
Well, think about learning, say, human anatomy or complex engineering principles. Reading about it is one thing. Seeing a 3D model is better. But actually being able to, virtually dissect something or walk around inside a virtual engine or practice a procedure in a simulated environment.
It makes abstract concepts tangible.
Exactly. It moves learning from just passive reception to active exploration and practice. The theory is that leads to much deeper understanding and, crucially, better retention of the knowledge and skills.
Okay, I can see how that would be powerful.
Yeah.
The sources also mentioned different ways this model could actually be put into practice, different implementation models. What were some of those?
Yeah, they gave a few examples to show the flexibility. One was focused on the Global South, offering accredited courses in developing countries, leveraging the virtual nature to bypass the need for huge physical infrastructure investment.
Making high-quality education accessible there.
Right. Another was corporate training, using these virtual environments for advanced workforce development, maybe training employees on new, complex, or even dangerous equipment safely.
That makes a lot of sense for businesses.
Definitely. They also mentioned student affiliate programs, kind of like building learning communities. And interestingly, distributed campus networks, the idea that traditional universities could use this platform to extend their own reach, offering programs digitally through this spatial interface.
So it's not necessarily just about competing with traditional universities, but maybe also partnering with them or providing tools for them.
It seems like it could be both, or offer different pathways. The overall potential they highlight is really about democratizing access to high-quality learning on a global scale.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the key takeaway seems to be this third-way idea from Spatial AI University and UBT. It's using technology, specifically spatial computing and AI, to create learning that's flexible, accessible, interactive.
And very career-focused. That access to the massive virtual resource library and the 24/7 AI mentorship are probably the most, well, standout features. It's a really different approach.
It definitely gives you food for thought. So, for you listening, how might this kind of third way change how you think about your own learning, or even the future of education overall? What does it mean if truly immersive, resource-rich education becomes accessible from anywhere, potentially at a lower cost?
Something to ponder. If you want to read more specifics, the places to look are the University of Business Technology website, that's upaot-uni.net, and EON Reality site, which is eonreality.com.
And the sources also mentioned they have a podcast and something called the EON XR spoken blog for more details too.
Yep, plenty more to explore if you're interested.